So first off, I'd like to personally thank Tulsi Gabbard for destroying Harris's 2020 presidential run. And so this is mainly towards Charlie Kirk, because I sort of know your views. Obviously, the topic of like foreign involvement, U.S. foreign involvement in foreign countries is a little contentious with conservatives right now. How would you balance supporting our allies and supporting, even if it unfortunately means we have to send troops in, with how would you balance that with also working on our supporting our own people?
I think this is actually a better question for Tulsi, if that's okay.
No.
This is one of her passion topics, and Tulsi served and serves in our military. And so, Tulsi, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is personal for a lot of reasons. I still serve in the Army Reserve. I'm a lieutenant colonel and a battalion commander. I've deployed to 3 different war zones at different times over the last 20 years. I have friends who are deployed into combat zones today. I know Kamala Harris is not aware of their existence. Which is both a sad and disastrous state of affairs that in and of itself disqualifies her to be our commander-in-chief. But I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who lost both of his legs in combat. And all of us who raise our hands and volunteer to serve in our military are willing to lay our lives down to ensure the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. What we do not sign up for is politicians who care more about feeding the military-industrial complex and the war machine than they do about our lives, but the safety and security of the American people's lives. What we need are leaders, and this is why I've endorsed President Trump in this election, who will always make those decisions in balancing. You asked a very good question. How do you balance the need for us to engage and stand with our allies and partners and put the American people's interests first? Every decision has to be made within the context of what serves the needs of the American people first, period. And that includes our national security needs. That includes our liberty and our freedom, which is often on the line when we are in a state of war. The war machine takes advantage of that to try to take away more of our freedom. And it has to do with our economic well-being as well. If we have a president and commander-in-chief who makes every decision about what's in the best interest of the American people, we won't go wrong.
And I'll just say one thing. We don't have to overcomplicate this. We should not send another dollar to Ukraine while our border is wide open. Period. Yes, please follow up with Tulsi, but that's my position in one sentence.
So the reason I asked that is a little personal because I'm from Japan, and obviously China has been increasingly aggressive. And why a lot of Japanese people are reluctant to fully support Trump is they're afraid that you'll sort of throw us under the bus if China drags Japan into a war. So,
here's what I'd say to that, and I understand the concern, but we need a president who will prevent war.
Right.
Period.
But
period.
I agree.
And the opportunity is there with the right kind of leadership, and this is a huge point of difference between President Trump and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has criticized President Trump for doing what we should expect our leaders to do, which is to engage in direct diplomacy, whether it be with dictators or adversaries, opposition, as well as friends and partners, because that's how you that is how you prevent war. Yes, it is strength, it is peace through strength, but that's not just through the buildup of military hardware and capability. That's through engaging in the kind of leadership that we've seen in President John F. Kennedy, that we've seen in President Ronald Reagan, and that we saw in President Trump's first administration.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.
Hello.
What's your name?
My name is Aideen. I am a U.S. citizen, but I was raised in Mexico. I came here because my parents one day want to come back, but legally, they want to do it in the right way. And by coming here to school, it was going to be an opportunity. But the school looks like it's going to give more opportunity to people who don't come here legally, instead of me, who I am a citizen, and I've been working for over a year, to get my scholarship. Nothing came back, so today I had to drop out of college, sadly.
I'm sorry.
And
how is it possible that I have to go back to my parents in Mexico and trying to look for a job there when I've been looking for months here in the United States as a citizen to fight for my rights to get a job and get an income here just so my parents can come back in the right way. And also, my family is fully Democrat. I am here opening up finally. If they see me over there, I'm sorry for you, but I've opened my eyes. I've opened my eyes. Thank you.
I'd love your thoughts on this, Tulsi, but I'll say this. It is reprehensible and wrong that the people that come here the right way are punished and the people that come here the wrong way are rewarded. That is wrong.
Yes.
The people that cut in line get benefits. They get taxpayer-funded subsidies. They get flights to the city they're choosing. They get luxury hotels. Where you came here the right way. You followed the rules,
Yes.
and you are being punished. It is a breakdown of justice and fairness, and
Yeah.
Donald Trump will not put up with that. He will say, if you follow the rules, you'll be rewarded. If you break the rules, you will be punished. That is what
Yeah.
Trump will do as president.
Thank you so much.
I just want to encourage you and tell you to stay strong. Don't give up. Keep up the fight. You are doing the right thing in the right way, and know that you're not alone.
Thank you.
Just one thing. Jesus Christ loves you all. He will come back one day. Amén a todos. Cuídense.
God bless you. What a great soul. Okay.
Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and my name is Christopher. I had a lot of questions, a lot of debates in the crowd today, but my main question would be, how do we start having conversations in the workplace without infringing on, the rules of work, but still be able to make it friendly? Because I used to work at a job where I would bring up, conversations about border and immigration and abortion and stuff, and I would make people aware. I would give them factual news information, but then they all turned on me all of a sudden one day, and I didn't understand how you could go from smiling in your face to stabbing you in the back the next day. And how do we cultivate a more friendly atmosphere in our workforce where we're mostly at majority of our life?
I mean, the First Amendment is the First Amendment. I
Yeah.
think when you're having these conversations, what I have found, even when I meet with people who come into the conversation ready for a fight, when you listen first, and if they are communicating in good faith,
Yeah.
then you can have a true and real conversation that is based on respect.
Yeah.
You can respect where someone's coming from, even if you disagree with them.
Right.
And then share your own experience, share your own thoughts, share what's on your heart with them. And again, if it's a good faith conversation, then it will flourish from there. If they're not interested in having a conversation, it's not worth confronting them
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you
God
guys.
bless you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your service, Miss Gabbard, for anything. I just have one question related to the election for you. How can you endorse someone who lost the last election fair and square? There's no evidence.
Let him finish, guys.
Republican secretaries of state claimed it was fair. Trump tried to leverage the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. He said, find me 11,700 votes. He has no respect for losing in our system. And what happened on January 6th happened on January 6th. A disaster. Our capital got stormed for the first time since 1812. You people claim to love America. How does that not fire you up?
All right, so it's a fair question. So let's talk through a couple elements of this. First, do you think the CIA should involve itself in American elections?
No.
Okay, so it did in 2020.
Show me proof.
Okay, well, Tulsi Gabbard knows this. She could tell you 50 intel officials colluded, led by Tony Blinken, due to declassified emails, signing an open letter calling the Hunter Biden laptop
So
Russian.
why weren't any of the lawsuits
Let me finish.
successful?
I did not. Hold on.
He raised plenty of them.
Hold on a second. I didn't interrupt you, right? So let me finish. 50 intel officials, current and former, signed a letter that was used to censor on social media the fact that there is a laptop owned by Hunter Biden that showed very suspicious and criminal activity by both Hunter and Joe Biden. According to the Media Research Center, 1 out of 4 voters in swing states would have changed their vote if they would have known about the Hunter Biden
That's
laptop.
an utter ridiculous statement
Well,
to make.
I just cited it.
He lost by 7 million votes.
Well, hold on. No. He lost by
On the popular vote.
42,000 votes across 3 states. Hold on, pal. How much did he lose Arizona by?
Okay.
No. Hold on. How much did he lose this state by?
It's not about the final score. It's
10?
a winner and a
No,
loser.
hold
He
on.
lost.
No,
That's how our system works.
We have an electoral college system.
Yeah.
So
who
how much?
got the electoral votes?
No, of course Biden did. But what was
Yeah.
the margin in Arizona?
I don't know.
was
It's
10,000
Not in
votes.
the back of my head.
Yeah. So how much in Georgia?
It was 11,700. That's what he told Raffensperger to find
and
them.
in Wisconsin, it was
A Republican
Let
who
me
denounces
finish.
them.
And in Wisconsin, it was 21,000, right? So it was actually 42,000, not 7 million. So when you're talking about the CIA and the Department of Justice signing a letter that was then used to, I did not have my Twitter account for 30 days. We were not allowed to mention the Hunter Biden
Because you
laptop.
violated a private company's privacy.
Well, no, actually, I
own
didn't.
guidelines.
It's actually
yes, you did.
no, because of the Twitter files, thanks to Elon Musk. We now know the FBI told Twitter to say you are not allowed to mention the Hunter Biden laptop. Am I correct in this, Tulsi?
That's correct.
And
So you don't trust the FBI at all? People who have devoted their life to civil service.
That's a red herring. I'm saying in that instance, Yoel Roth. Do you know who Yoel Roth was?
I don't know.
Yeah,
who Yoel
okay.
Roth
Yoel
is.
Roth was the head of security, trust, and safety for Twitter that had a what's called a standing room meeting every Tuesday with the Federal Bureau of Investigation in San Francisco, where they met about Russian threats to American interference of elections, and they said this laptop is not allowed to be discussed on your platform. That impacted our election. People made their decisions differently in 2020, not knowing the full picture that this laptop existed, and that was the October surprise. So you would agree that that's not a fair
You think
election.
the laptop would have flipped the election for him?
Well, we're talking about 42,000 votes in 3 states, and I already cited a study that 1 in 4 swing voters would
A
have changed
study
their,
by who?
the Media Research
Clarence
Center.
Thomas's Winnebago buyer? Like, who funds these?
I just said by the independent, nonpartisan Media Research Center, where they said 1 out of 4 voters would have changed their opinion. So I just want to make sure we're clear, though. You agree our government should not interfere with our elections.
Well, they have to regulate them by nature. That's the states have to.
Well, no, hold on.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have an election because you need rules
I
and
said
a judge.
interfere. So should the federal government be able to restrict our speech during elections?
Well, when you have what happened in 2016, where Russian disinformation spreads all over Facebook and other platforms, then you have.
So wait,
it was not a lie.
who is-
It was not a lie.
It-
Read the Mueller report. Another Republican.
Wait, you realize
respected.
the Mueller report found that there was no tangible collusion between Donald Trump or the Russian Federation.
It wasn't about, but
hold
it
on,
wasn't just a collusion thing. It's a
I-
430-page report.
I
He
want to
talks
try to
about-
find common ground here, okay? I want to try to find common ground. Can we agree that 2020 was decided by very few votes?
No,
Fo-
because it wasn't.
Well, 42,000 votes is very few, right?
No,
So what is the percentage of 42,000?
it's not about. George Bush and Al Gore were as close as ever in 2000. Al Gore conceded, said, "You know what? I
but
lost.
that-
there might be a challenge."
Hold on, but
because
that-
he cared about the good of the country.
You know, Al
He
Gore
did.
brought it all the way up to the Supreme Court, man, and he said that Bush was not the duly elected president.
and he could have gone further because
How did he
the-
go further
the
than the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court sent it back to judgment in the Florida State Supreme Court again, and Gore said, "No, I'm not doing that. Just move on. Bush is the president for the good of the country." Because
Yeah,
people
but-
used to care about our country.
No, and of course. So are you trying to imply Trump doesn't care about the country?
Yes, that's absolutely what I'm implying. You think he sits in his gold room in Trump Tower and thinks, "Oh, how can I make things better for everyday
Wait, so-
Joe?"
So let me ask one thing, and I'd love to have Tulsi. Just help me understand. So his business empire has been taken away from him. He's facing
Yeah, because he broke the law.
Can I finish my thought? He's facing 700 years in federal prison. He's been shot once with multiple assassination attempts. Why keep running for president if he doesn't love the country?
Because 100 years from now in a history textbook, it's going to say Donald Trump's name, and that's what motivates narcissists.
Look, I will say this. I hope you do some research because
I've done my research. You need to do your research.
Look, I will say this as kindly as I can. One day I hope you open your eyes because you've been significantly brainwashed on this topic. And I guess the final question I'll ask is this. If Donald Trump wins in 3 weeks, will you accept that as a legitimate result?
Yes.
Okay, I'll hold you to
That's
that.
the difference between me and you.
Okay, did Trump win in 2016?
Yes.
But you said that Russian interfered.
Russian interference had a role in the election, but Trump won fair and square. He had more votes and more.
Oh,
and notice
which
how
one is it
Hillary.
then?
Notice how Hillary supporters didn't storm
Well,
the
no,
Capitol.
hold on. Hillary never conceded.
Yes, she did.
No, hold on.
She had a concession speech the day after the election. I watched it in middle
Hillary
school.
Clinton said Donald Trump was not the legitimate president of the United States.
That's one milked clip that is played all over the internet. Yeah, she had a concession speech. When's the Trump concession speech in 2020? Show it to me.
Let me ask one more question. Are you voting for Kamala Harris?
Yes, I am, proudly.
What's her greatest accomplishment?
Her greatest accomplishment? I would say that she's going to legalize marijuana federally, something that's been overdue by 100 years.
Thank you.
She said it.
Hi, my name's Ava, and I've grew up most of my life in North Carolina. And my grandma, she's from Asheville, and recently, from Hurricane Helene, Asheville has been totally wiped out. No one's getting money, and FEMA is saying that everyone's supposed to get $750 to help, but everyone I know hasn't been getting approved. But all this money is going to Ukraine, Israel. I just want to understand, like, where is this money going to, and how come, like, we still have so much homeless population here, our roads are horrible here, but we can't get $750 from a hurricane disaster, and now people are out of homes. So I would just like to know where that money is actually going.
I was there in Western North Carolina about a week and a half ago, shortly after Helene went through there, and my heart is with your grandmother and any of your family that still remain in the area. I have friends who are both still actively serving and taken leave to go help out there, as well as many veterans who are going to small towns that no government entity has touched yet. Last night, they had a blizzard warning there in the mountains. They've got people who are homeless, who have no clothes, no food, no access to clean water, and dead bodies that are still being recovered. Unfortunately, the headlines have moved on. Your question is the most important question. When this was posed, this very same question was posed to the White House press secretary. You know what her response was? This is disinformation. The question is disinformation. The problem with this is they are prioritizing other interests ahead of the interests of our fellow Americans, your family, and so many other friends and family who desperately need help right now. And if we dare criticize their failed response that is resulting in people getting sick and potentially dying in the aftermath of Helene, they criticize us for disinformation. This is what happens in dictatorships. Those in power identify themselves as the country, and if we dare criticize them, they then call us traitors who are dangerous. This is why free speech is so important. This is what the First Amendment is all about, and this is why it's up to us to hold them accountable. Otherwise, they're going to continue to put the American people last.
And I'll just close with this. You have family in Western North Carolina?
My grandma grew up in Asheville, and
So-
I've been there most of my life.
So there's an easy way she can get cash. You ready? She should fly to Mexicali, walk across the border, declare asylum. She can get a free cell phone, free luxury hotel,
$10,000.
$10,000, and all the U.S. taxpayer dollars, and then she can rebuild her house with American taxpayer dollars while she waits for her asylum date. What I'm getting at is that if you break into America, you're treated better than the citizens of this country who lost their homes in North Carolina. It's sick, it's wrong, and it ends in November, everybody.
All right, hello, thank you for having me. My name's Luke Wilson. I had a question since you guys seem to push Donald Trump's candidacy a lot. Especially because of his America First policies, which I think we can all agree with. We're all tired in this country of feeling like we're getting pushed down. My question was, however, is how do you guys reconcile with the fact that despite so many American First policies and sort of speeches he gives, he still very adamantly supports Israel, a country which at times seems to be opposed with our democratic values?
So this is the third Israel question. I think we've
It's
exhausted
an important
that.
question, though.
Yeah, again, but what did I say in the other two questions?
Well, what about it? How
No,
do you
meaning I'm not
reconcile-
going to keep on answering the
No,
same question.
what I'm asking, how do you reconcile with the fact that Donald Trump is so America first, but at the same time
Well,
he has
hold
a
on.
contradictory...
Let me ask you a question. Is America first America only?
Yes.
Oh, see, I disagree. I don't believe in America only. You do?
Yes.
Okay, so I disagree. I don't believe in America only. I think we should prioritize ourselves, but I think there is a place for America to be involved in international relations. I think there is a place for us to end wars unnecessarily and be involved in diplomacy. So you believe in America only. Donald Trump believes in America first. So don't conflate the two. America first does not mean we will not be involved in other countries, other affairs. It means we come first always, and then we can start involving ourselves in other countries, in other areas and spheres of influence.
Exactly, but we can't. We don't have. We are not putting America first and then trying to help Israel.
No, okay, but we agree.
Putting Israel first.
What Trump has said is he said you stop foreign aid until our own border is secure and our people at least have some stability and some way of life. We've said that in the last couple questions, okay? Now, I will just ask a question about Israel, though, which I think is a moral clarifying issue. Do you think the Jewish people have a right to their ancestral homeland?
I don't think it's their ancestral homeland.
See, so okay, so this is the reason why we have a disagreement. Where is their ancestral homeland, then?
It's not defined.
So it's not...
For a long time, their history has been wandering people.
Okay, so again...
The land was given to them by Great Britain after World War II.
Okay, so I'm not going to go into, like... Do you know Joshua and Caleb and what happened, like, 5,000 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Canaan, the land of milk and honey, Judea and Samaria. So in order for you to be right, that means that the Bible is wrong. So are you a Christian?
I'm Catholic, yes.
Okay, so then do you believe the Bible?
Yes.
Well, then is the Bible right or the Bible wrong?
The Bible is right.
Okay, so
but
then what? Hold on, what was King Hezekiah? Where was he? How about King David, King Solomon?
How
about Zechariah, Nehemiah? Where did they operate?
The borders defined today were defined by Great Britain and after
not necessarily,
World War II.
actually, because it says in the scriptures, all the way to the north of Nazareth, to the north touch of the Jordan River, to the southern tip of what is now Mount Carmel. So that's actually the border is very similar to modern Israel. We're not going to agree on this, but I believe the Jewish people have a right to their ancestral homeland. You don't even know where that is.
That's true. Well, whether or not we agree on that is not the issue.
No, it actually is the issue.
What I'm saying is I could really care less. It doesn't really affect peace in the Middle East. Does not affect America in the way that a lot of people does. But if we must have it, Israel is not doing a good job in helping us with that, as they're dragging us into a war with Iran instead of negotiating.
Well, you're looking at two people that definitely don't want a war with Iran. I just asked a simple moral clarifying question, and we disagree, and that's okay. Donald Trump believes in America first, not America only, and that is a very important moral distinction. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
How we doing? My name's Matt. I just have a quick question. So going into the next election, we're picking the lesser of two evils. It's always been that way because Jesus Christ has never been on the ballot. And my question to you is, what are some policies you can educate myself and everyone here with that Trump's going to put into place? And what is your favorite policy?
I can start, and then Tulsi can go. He will end the Russian-Ukrainian war. Blessed are the peacemakers. He will secure the southern border and restore sovereignty. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. No men and women's sports, establish energy independence, booming economy, middle-class tax cut, and one of my favorites, what I think is so incredibly important, he will end the weaponization of government against political opponents, and we will not live in a country where you go to jail just because you have different ideas. Those are just some off the top of my head, and Tulsi can continue.
Thank you.
I think you covered the greatest hits, Charlie. I just want to take the opportunity to give a shout out. I was in Reno last night at a University of Nevada Reno women's volleyball game. These women are taking a stand against biological males in their sport. They are forfeiting a game. They are a D1 team forfeiting a game because they refuse to play against San Jose State that has a biological male on their team. The courage these women are demonstrating are an inspiration, and we look forward to many more of these teams taking a stand, even at their own peril, even against their own university leadership, and standing up and doing what's right.
Thank you. And
thank you so much.
And I'll just say one final thing. It's very important that people of faith view the election the way you did. It is a lesser of two evils always, but there is one that is better, and that one that is better fit towards our worldview, and that is Donald Trump. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Latinos for Trump!
Hello, my name is Brenna. So I've noticed that every time the topic of women's rights or female issues is brought up by politicians, everyone knows the conversation will be centered around abortion rights. It seems we have lost contact with the fact that women's issues and they cover a multitude of issues. As a daughter of Christ, woman, and believer in pro-life, of course I have a strong conviction on the matter. However, I would like to know why we have allowed this conversation to be doctored towards one issue, and also how to navigate this conversation back to other issues regarding women.
I think the mainstream propaganda media has a lot to do with why they present women's issues around that single issue. The Democrat Party leadership does the very same thing. To me, I'm personally offended by it because as a woman, there are a lot of different issues that I'm very concerned about, and I know that a lot of women across the country are. We just talked about one of them. How is it that Kamala Harris and Democrats claim to be the champion of women, and yet they are silent when women are losing the ability to play fairly in sports against other women? How is it that they are silent when young children are being mutilated because of the trans ideology and so-called gender-affirming care? They are silent on these issues, and when it came time for a vote, every single Democrat voted against fairness and equality and Title IX for women and girls in sports. So I encourage you, as you're having these conversations, bring up these issues that you probably care very much about. Bring up issues related to just the ability to afford living, be able to afford school, issues related to peace. How do we raise a family in a society where we have criminals running around in our streets and we face the prospect of nuclear war? This is happening now as a result of Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And I'll say one final thing. The border is a woman's issue. There are tens of thousands of young girls that are sex trafficked on the southern border. And it is one of the great moral crimes in the history of our country. There are 320,000 missing kids that we know of under Kamala Harris. And I want every independent and swing voter to hear that. You might hate Donald Trump, but you should hate the fact that there are 320,000 missing kids more than however much you hate Donald Trump. It is modern-day slavery. We don't know where these kids are. They could be as sex slaves, they could be labor slaves, or just generally missing. For those of you that know what's happening on the border, every day there are these poor 12 and 13-year-old girls that are trafficked by the cartels. Someone says that it's their father, and it's not their father. Kamala Harris made a decision to get rid of DNA testing on the border. It takes 90 seconds to do DNA testing. DNA testing, swab, put it in a machine, yes or no, affirmative match of whether or not there's a biological relation. It's not hard. They decided to get rid of it because they didn't like the optics of a lot of people waiting on the border. So what happens when you get rid of DNA testing? That means anybody can claim to be the 12-year-old's father and bring her to the interior of the United States, and God knows where she is right now. We have to all agree this is bigger than politics. This is a moral failing of our country, and it must end immediately.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question for Charlie. You said you support middle-class tax cuts, but Trump promised billionaires in the top 1% a tax cut inevitably at the expense of everyone else. How does this not contradict your views?
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Angelica.
Thank you for the question. So that is not true. That's just a commercial that Kamala Harris keeps running, and and that's okay. Donald Trump has not promised billionaires a tax cut. In fact, what he has done is he actually executed the largest middle-class tax cut in American history, which was the Economic Recovery Act of 2017. But more important than that, what is the hidden tax that all of you guys are paying every single day? Inflation. Inflation is the tax that no one voted for, but all of you guys are experiencing. Inflation was at record lows under Donald Trump. How many of you guys are suffering under inflation right now? And you are too. And so inflation actually makes you poor. But let me tell you, people that have money, they don't feel inflation. You know why? If you own assets, inflation is actually very good for you. If you own apartment buildings, condominiums, private jets, yachts, stocks, and bonds, inflation actually is a way to boost the value of your asset. You know who gets crushed by inflation? For those of you that are renting. For those of you who parents that don't own a mortgage, you guys get crushed by inflation. So I love the question, and I know that it's coming in good faith. I will just say that it's not true. When Donald Trump reduces inflation on day one, it will actually be the greatest tax cut in history because you guys will have increased purchasing power.
Thank you.
Okay, so first I want to thank you guys for coming out here. I appreciate what you do. Thank you for your service, Tulsi. So I just want to ask, right, I'm already voting for Donald Trump. I'm just putting that out there, but what is he going to do about the homeless population, and especially with the veterans of this country? I think it's terrible how the Biden administration just ignores it completely. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean the homeless crisis is facing, I think, every big city and many small towns across the country. There's a few quick things I'll hit on. You mentioned veterans specifically. The Department of Veterans Affairs needs a complete overhaul. It has become a money-gobbling bureaucracy that does not serve all of the best needs of veterans, including homeless veterans. One of the things that Donald Trump will do is secure the border and make it so that resources go towards getting housing for homeless veterans rather than providing housing and money and food directly for illegal immigrants. He has within his first 100-day agenda to begin to start to build more affordable housing across our country and deploying those resources more towards local communities to be able to decide how best to deploy those resources. There's a lot of other things. When you bring down inflation, you bring down the cost of energy, you improve the economy. The rest of these challenges will provide the opportunity to be solved.
Yeah, and I'll just say one thing from a moral standpoint. We must have compassion for every American. With that being said, the streets are not your home, and we must find a way that we can treat all people without the streets of our cities becoming littered, more dangerous, and quite honestly, areas that depress us, not that lift us up. Thank you very much.